Hi, I'm Jesse Hilbert.
Hi, I'm Charlie Hubbard.
And welcome
to Arnavon
Adventures.
Adventure. Today is
Season
3, episode 15, The Rock Fly.
That's right. Now, Charlie, today's arthropod can be found in streams and rivers, at least in its larval stage. And once it's reached adulthood, you will find it flying above the water, but you don't need to worry about a potential bite, as they don't have any mouth parts. And then we always say, can
you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? Becky Beyonce. Today's episode is Becky Beyonce.
Today's episode brings us to the world of the giant salmon stonefly, Charlie.
Oh!
Yeah. But this is a special episode because it is dedicated to one of your favorite people. And who is that person?
Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce,
Okay.
Becky
Okay.
Beyonce,
Okay. To your favorite person, Becky. Now, Charlie, as an adult, I'm going to tell you.
Beyonce.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you that I love watching you and Becky together, and it makes my heart melt because you two have such a good bond. And Becky and Uncle Stefan are such great supporters of our podcast and also love arthropods and the outdoors like we do.
Yeah.
And we know. And they what?
They don't like beetles in their house.
I don't think that's true. Uncle Stefan has so many beetles.
They don't like flies.
Yeah, okay. Now, Charlie, we know she loves stoneflies, which we're going to find out about today.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
What season do you like about stoneflies?
What?
Season 1, Season 2, Season 3.
This is the first time we ever did a stonefly.
And we just found a fly in our house.
We have been finding some flies.
150.
Yeah. So, Charlie, there are many different species of stoneflies around. There's a big number.
3,500.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know you could read that number. 3,500 or so in the order Plecoptera. Try that one.
Plecoptera.
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 And that order name has a pretty cool etymology with a great
What's a Becky Beyonce?
You're gonna say that so many times. With a great etymology and a great explanation coming from NC State, and I quote, Plecoptera. Yes. Plecoptera derived from the Greek pleko, meaning folded, and ptera, meaning wings, refers to the pleated hind wings which fold under the front wings when the insect is at rest. And so this insect is long, as we'll find out, and its wings fold neatly across the back.
You love everyone, and you love Becky Beyonce, and you love Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce.
And end quote. Now, Charlie, these are important insects within their ecosystem, and much like dragonflies, live in two different worlds based on where they are in their life cycle.
We learned about life cycles.
You did in school? Yeah.
They go around in the earth, and if you recycle or trash out the air, it pollutions the earth.
Oh, that's a different kind of cycle, but yes.
Oh.
So, I chose this stonefly, Charlie, because, well, it's
Becky
big.
Beyonce loves it.
Becky Beyonce loves stoneflies. This is
Stefan.
Stefan. It's a big one, and it's got a beautiful coloration.
It's big as a microphone.
It's not as big as this microphone, but it's got a beautiful coloration. Now, the scientific
Red,
name.
orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, black, orange.
Now, the scientific name for the giant salmon fly or giant salmon stonefly is Pteronix californica. The genus,
Like California.
yes, that's exactly it. So the etymology for the species Californica does come from the word of California for the state because it's found out that way. Now, the genus Pteronarces. Yes. There's only about 8 described species, and that name comes from Greek meaning pteron for wings, and a familiar Greek mythological person, Narcissus. Now, Charlie, if our listeners are unfamiliar with the story of Narcissus, we'll give them a little recap. Okay? He was a person of a human known for his beauty, but more importantly, he was known for loving his own beauty a little too much. He would eventually go on to fall in love with his own reflection in the water because he upset some of the Greek gods. And this is where the word narcissist, narcissus, he fell in love with his reflection, so he went in after it.
So is that what happened to it? The shark.
No, there's no sharks. I think it was either a river or a lake. But this is where the word.
Is he still in there?
I suppose so, although this is mythology, so it wasn't real.
He didn't actually go in the pond?
No, it was a make-believe story. Like we read books, it's like that. But the Greeks used them to explain things.
And write fiction.
Yes, non-fiction. Yeah.
Maybe he was dressed and he didn't want to live outside, so he went.
Maybe. Now, Charlie.
And bears sometimes, horses have the tail and they swat all the animals away so they can, sometimes if they don't want them near them.
That is a very good evolutionary trait. Yes. Now, the stonefly has I want you to try this word, hemimetabolous.
Hemimetabolous.
That's a hemimetabolous life cycle, meaning it differs from the normal. What? What word are you trying to read? We're down here. So that means it does not follow the
egg, leopard, larva, pupal,
and adult.
Adult.
It doesn't do that. Instead, it goes egg, nymph, or sometimes we call them naiads.
No, it goes egg, pupa, so on.
Okay. But this stonefly goes egg, nymph, or naiad, and then it becomes an adult. We're taking a brief break from the show to share some excitingness. I know it's not a real word, but excitingness about a brand that we are working with called Dead Bird Ecowear. And it's more than just a clothing brand. Dead Bird Ecowear is a movement committed to restoring the earth. And as a proud veteran-owned business, they dedicate a portion of every purchase to global tree planting initiatives. Wear the change you want to be and wear the change you want to see, and make a positive impact with every outfit. Plus, listeners of Arthropod Adventures can use the code in all caps arthropod_adventures_podcast for 25% off their purchase. So join us in supporting sustainability and our veterans. Shop Dead Bird Ecowear. Most of their life in this larval stage, which can last a couple of years, Charlie. And as their common name refers to, they're giant, right? They're pretty big, often reaching 2 inches in this larval stage of their life. Now, I was lucky enough to come across, we're down here, a few. I know you want to do the numbers. I apologize. The next number you can do, okay? Okay. So I came across a few scientific papers that helped with our research. And the first of which was entitled Estimating Densities of Larval Salmon Flies Through Multiple Passes, Removal of Post-Emergent Exuvia in Colorado Rivers. Long title. Scientific papers are like that. And it was written by Brian Heinhold, Dan Kowalski.
Oh, Brian.
Yes, I just say Brian. And R. Barry Nyring. Now, I know I don't say their names correctly, but I did learn a lot. So, I learned that the presence of this larva means that the river is clean, as they cannot live or thrive in a polluted environment. So, shout out to these larvae for being environmental indicators. And I quote, in Colorado, larvae typically inhabit unpolluted, medium to large, permanent streams with unconsolidated cobble, like the Rockies, and large gravel substrates between, what's the big number? Go ahead. 1,000. Yeah. 500. And 2,000. 2,500 meters, right? In elevation. So, not sea level, but also, not the top of the mountain. So somewhere in the middle. So you could see that these insects, end quote. So you could see that these insects need a certain environment in order to thrive. And this can be very specific to even a certain part of a river. I read that you can visibly see a difference sometimes by just looking down the river a couple dozen feet. You can see a whole bunch of these stoneflies or see none. Yeah. So they are also an important part of the ecosystem, Charlie. They munch on algae and other plant material, and when they're in the larval stage. The same article refers to them as, see if you can say this word. What does SH say?
Shreddy.
Yep. Oh, close. I like shreddy though.
Shred.
ER says Shredders.
Shredders. And if you didn't
instantly
picture the
villain
from,
I'll read this part. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Because that's what I think about when I hear Shredder, but that could also just be my age.
Yeah, they could also just be like 182.
Yeah. So if you didn't think about that, you should. Me?
Yes.
Oh, that's a hard one. Probably a Harvestman.
Oh yeah. My favorite is
You want to keep thinking?
A beetle.
Oh, okay. I like beetles. So the food they shred, since they're shredders, is then. But yeah, I wrote a sentence that doesn't make any sense. The food they shred is eaten by them. Well, that does make sense. But it's then also becomes accessible for smaller creatures to eat.
For smaller creatures that do not live in Hawaii.
Yes. Now, they also are an integral part of the food chain because they're eaten by other animals.
And yesterday we found this moth that was in our kitchen, and we tried to catch it, but it flew away.
But I did get it. It was called the blackberry looper.
Then once we came outside, it was all gone.
Yeah.
We had to go bye-bye to see his little mama.
Mm.
We found a green caterpillar today.
We did. I don't know what kind. I didn't look it up yet.
Oh, it was a searching. They had to act Connecticut and not Connecticut. Well, Panama, and then Papa, wait a second. It's a caterpillar. It lives in Hemiptera.
It's not a hemipteran. Hemipterans are true bugs.
That was true bug, dude.
So as they go through their larval stage and prepare to emerge from the water, they will make their way from the bottom of their stream or river to the edges so they can crawl out. Being out of the shelter of the riverbed does allow them to be easy targets, but it's necessary for them to fulfill their life cycle. Once they have safely reached the shore, they will split down their back or their nymphal exoskeleton and emerge as a beautiful winged adult.
This part?
Okay.
Right
here.
But
before
we get to
their winged adult life
is
I should describe what this larval stage I just talked about looks like. So let me see if I could do this justice because it's awesome. And as always, Charlie, if people want to see pictures, they should go check out our
Instagram.
Our Instagram, yes, and our show notes, right? So the color-wise, the nymph is really nothing to write home about. Kind of a brownish, greenish color. The abdomen is segmented and elongated. It kind of looks like it would belong to an earwig or a rove beetle. And coming out of the back of the abdomen are two long antenna-looking things called cerci. These can be used as sensory organs. And as insects, they have 6 legs, which end in 2 little claws that kind of look like they would be perfect for gripping onto the riverbed. Oh, fiddlesticks.
And you did not do
Okay, here's another number coming up, okay?
And you did not let me do 6.
Okay, you can do this next one, okay? Going up the body, we can look at their thorax, which is covered in
3
plates.
Like dinosaur plates.
Kind of.
Lever choo-choo.
They're called the pronotum, mesonotum, and metanotum. The pronotum, or plate closest to its head, is rectangular with small points coming out from each corner. The mesonotum and the metanotum are also rectangular, but then jut out backwards towards the abdomen in a triangular shape. This whole notums does really give off like it's a shield vibe, or You know, I can give off a dinosaur vibe too.
But do they live in Hemiptera?
They're not hemipterans. You can't live in. I guess you could live in a hemipteran if you were like a parasitic wasp.
And me so wasp, and they live in Ohio. Hemiptera.
Yeah. Okay. So the head sports 2 compound eyes and a pair of long antennae. I'm going to make a bold statement, and this might be the coolest looking larval stage that we've talked about on Arthropod Adventures. I'm just loving it.
I'm just loving it.
Yeah.
Because Papa just wants to eat every bug.
I've tried a few. Now on to, well, not bugs, but some insects. Uncle Stefan made you ant ice cream for your birthday a couple years ago. You ate it.
I hate it.
You didn't. You ate it.
He caught
it was delicious.
And he dyed them and put it in ice cream.
First of all, he didn't catch them and he didn't dye them. He bought them. They were food grade ants and they were delicious. Very citrusy.
I did not like it. I just like the strawberry ice cream.
Now, this is where we get a little bit more colorful in the adult stage. We get a really nice orange color saturated through their body. They are, again, a few inches long as an adult and emerge ready to mate. They have 2 large pairs of wings that sit folded flat against their back like we talked about at the beginning. And the orange color is really seen where they have joints such as between the head and thorax and pairs well with the dark color of the rest of their body. It's very beautiful. The wings are larger than their body, which gives them the appearance of being longer than they are. The segmented abdomen that was darker in color during their larval stage is now a much brighter orange in color. And it's very striking, Charlie. Now, outside of being environmental indicators and part of the food chain, these insects are greatly appreciated by anglers. That's fishermen, Charlie, or fisher people.
Oh, yeah.
Fish that they want to catch are often found chomping on these stonefly, and fly fishers often create flies to mimic these colorations in hopes of catching a fish of their own. So the next time you find yourself on the west coast of the United States and into Canada, and you find yourself near a nice river, be on the lookout for those beautiful creatures. You can try your luck in the water to find their larval stage, or be on the lookout in the air for those not so good flyers. If you're not having any luck, try moving downstream. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and a big thank you to the one and only
Charlie.
No, you are Charlie. Oh, no, you're reading that. Becky.
Beyonce.
Yes.
Charlie loves you so much. Jude helps. What does that say? Jude helps?
Yeah, Jude helps, right? He's a good helper. So thank you.
Thank you. Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce, Becky Beyonce.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
If you have an arthropod you would love to hear about, want to tell us what you think about the show, or found one of our mistakes, send us an email at arthropodadventurespodcast@gmail.com. And you can find us on Instagram at arthropod_adventures_podcast and follow us there. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Never stop learning. Show your show notes and never stop learning.
Stay inquisitive.
And never stop learning.
And always check out the show notes. You're right.